Welcome. Thank you, Rabbi Rappoort, for joining us for a sip of Torah for the month of Nisan. And he is here to answer our Pesach Kashrut questions, some of which
Yes.
I sent ahead. So I'm going to let you run with it, Rabbi.
Okay. So I'll answer the questions and give a brief summary of koshering and of other products that might be available for you that you don't realize that you do not need a kosher for Pesach texture on it, as long as it has the regular texture on it. So the questions I got were number one, Marilee, I was going to let you know. I looked it up, and it's the not the Trader, the Whole Food brand um, heavy cream that you can buy with a regular hechsher before Pesach. That does not need a kosher Pesach hechsher on it.
Okay, just
Right.
to tell people my question
Right.
was, um,
It's like what you're supposed to say now, like Jeopardy. What is? Go
oh,
ahead.
right. So what
Yeah.
is that? We'll try that. I don't have the music though. Um,
Right.
Ari would love that. No, Tuhi and I cannot have milk, and we love our coffee, and we can have cream, but finding cream that wasn't half and half has been a challenge. Every year I'm like up until the minute trying to figure out if I can find it. So Whole Foods heavy cream, not
All
the
year round sounds like you can get it.
Yeah. I'm saying, but on Pesach heavy cream, for some reason, I'm not exactly sure. And I think I asked some people, they seem to think there's more involved when making heavy cream than any other kind of milk products. Maybe more stuff goes into it, more maybe potential kidney health problems or whatever it is. So it does need a hechsher, but this particular brand does not need a special P on it for Pesach. And that
Is that
for those
just for the heavy cream or for the light cream as well?
yeah, for the heavy cream or the light cream of their brand, but I don't think they sell light cream. I think they just sell heavy cream.
Okay.
There are a couple other brands that I've never heard of that if you can't find that, you can try to source the other brands out, but that's what I got.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean there might be brands that are just not sold in this part of the country.
Right, exactly. In this part of this region or whatever, like you can't get Diet Coke here for some reason, where in New York you can find it everywhere. Just like things like that. I'm still not sure why that is, but maybe one day we'll find
What
out.
about Diet Pepsi?
No, nothing. No diet sodas. Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a couple more requests for the link, so hopefully people will be joining. So,
Okay. All right. Well, they can get it afterwards. Okay. The next question was about bran. Can bran be kosher Pesach? Well, bran, if you know what bran is the exoskeleton of the wheat, and it is part of the wheat. So it can never be, if it's part of the problem, it's going to be the problem for all your Pesach. And it cannot be made, you cannot eat it on Pesach. There's no way you can do that,
I
unfortunately.
mean, I remember there used to be a fad of oat bran. Are there other brands from things that are not part of um
Nothing. I mean, the people grind up the matzah, but nothing of the other stuff they grind up. Anything else? It's too like flour itself is not considered chametz gomor, like real chametz, but you're still going to sell it for Pesach, just because you never know, it can get like a little moist from where you store it or whatever it is like that. But in itself, it's not really considered real chametz, but you should put it away. You know.
So, what makes some matzahs higher in fiber than others that are kosher
So
for Passover?
you have whole wheat matzah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean I mean there's not and there's several different matzahs you can buy. You can buy whole wheat, you can buy spelt, you can buy oat. These are it goes up and up. What?
Mhm.
Regular wheat, Yeah, I mean it's just a matter of what you're looking for. But I personally eat whole wheat, and you can get some places claim it's higher fiber than others, but I think whole wheat's whole wheat. I really, it's flour and water. That's all it is.
Yeah.
If
You know
if
those
you know the
little
formula.
the little cold cereal. They almost look like Cheerios for kosher for Pesach.
Yeah, it's made out of potato. It's made out of either potato, tapioca,
Yeah.
or matzo meal, depending if
Yeah.
it's yes or not. You know, the
So there's
OU.
really no cold cereal that's kosher for Passover, but
Yes,
that has a
there
higher
is.
that has a
Oh,
higher
higher
fiber.
fiber. No, I don't think they make it with whole wheat. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's
They
made
do
made
have
from sugar and
granola. I
what?
have seen I have seen kashrut
Granola.
granola.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what's in it, but I've seen it.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuts and stuff like that. No, of course, no grains or anything like that, but
Yeah.
lots of nuts and everything like that. So,
Okay.
it's like a nut granola.
Mm.
The third question that was asked was particularly, is there any advancement to the desserts that they're making for kosher Pesach, or how to that degree? Wasn't sure exactly the question. Are they asking? Are they making advances in the desserts and cakes and stuff like that for kosher Pesach?
Maybe
What
they need the boxed stuff. I don't know.
what has
Well,
the industry done to make them taste much better? I guess there's been an improvement.
well, I tell you like
And
this. I worked in many different places, many years, and I could tell you that there are some really high end desserts out there that are available commercially. I also worked with a professional baker 1 year for Pesach, and I could tell you that when I brought it home, no, they couldn't tell the difference between chametz and not, and it was non-gebrux. It was made out of potato. So yeah, you could make it. There are certain brands that are better than others, and yes, every year they're coming up with newer innovations of manufacturing and different things to make things better. So
Are any of the brands off your mind that on the top of your head that you could tell us?
I would say I have the brands that are not tasty. I don't know the brands that are tasty.
Okay.
But there are. Chantilly, if you can get chantilly, which I don't think you can get up here.
do you
Just
spell
maybe.
that?
What?
How do you spell it?
Chantilly?
Oh, Chantilly, yes.
Chantilly,
Chantilly
right?
lace
I
and a
think
pretty thing.
I have
Costco?
seen those. They're also very expensive. I
They're
mean,
very expensive, but they're
so
very good.
if flavor is the most important thing, and you're willing, and this is what you really want.
Right. Costco, I think Leah told me that Costco sells, I think, Chantilly.
They used to sell a lot more. Last year they cut their Passover selection, at least in Dedham, and I think my husband checked the one in Waltham. It was much smaller than it used to be.
Oh,
They're
really?
not
Oh, okay.
interested in serving. And I was in Dedham, so then I went to Whole Foods, figured they might have something. They have
Right.
like an end cap of a shelf with gefilte fish and I don't know,
Good.
those jelly candies with those fruit jelly candies that look like
Mhm.
fruit slices.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they have
yeah.
it.
The
And I
one,
was
the one
like,
that has a lot
okay,
of sugar on
kosher
there.
people do like to eat more than those things, but
Yes.
or in
They-
borscht.
You got to look for healthy things like nuts and stuff like that on Pesach. Other
Mhm.
stuff has full of sugar and stuff like that.
Do whole nuts? I mean, nuts are processed unless you buy them in the shell, which is a whole
Yeah.
other thing. I mean, so they would need a KVP, correct?
Oh, no,
I-
not yet. What's
Yeah.
that?
Do
The
whole
nuts. So
nuts that are
nuts.
not KVP, that are not marked KVP.
Right. So I'll tell you, I have that right here. Actually, I was anticipating that question.
Oh,
Trying to get my stuff out here. So yeah, so there are nuts that if they're not processed and they don't have any oils, they do not need a special kosher Pesach thing. Yeah, nuts whole or chopped, blanched, roasted, glazed, ground. So if they're blanched, roasted, glazed, ground, or nuts contain BHA or BHC, if you know what that is, and pecans
I'm
require
sorry. I'm trying to take the notes. Blanched, roasted, what or ground?
blanched, roasted, glazed,
Glazed. Oh, okay.
ground, or nuts containing BHA or BHT, and pecans require hashgach.
Specifically pecans. Okay.
Pecans, but
So
less
if I buy whole almonds that are
whole almonds, raw whole almonds with nothing added, not blanched or anything. Yes, that would be acceptable for the without the P on it. Yeah. That is correct.
Good to know.
Yeah. There's a lot of other things. I'll get into that, but I want to finish the questions. There's one last question, I believe, which was about the urn. Someone asked about, hey, I'm buying an urn. Do I have to tovel it? I mean, is it going to ruin it? Is it, what do I got to do? So it's very complex, these rules of tefillah. You're going to go to the mikvah and tovel your urn. You're scared that your urn is going to break because, so Rabbi Heinemann, I'll tell you, I'll give you the different sources. Rabbi Heinemann from the Star K says, you're just dipping it in for a second, let it dry out for a couple of days, and you should be fine. Take the chance. The people are very scared, and they say, I don't want to take the chance. It's going to break. What if it breaks? Well, if you buy from Amazon, you can return it maybe. But what about if you, like, oh, there goes my whole, that's my urn. So there are a couple other ways of doing it, and not everybody agrees to these kinds of things. One is to, if you're able to be opened up, to disconnect the electric inside and reattach it. This makes it that you actually built the urn or whatever electronic device, and then you do not have to do tefillah on it. I mean, that's one thing. Another thing is, another way to do that, and this is complex, and you would have to you have to go through a little bit of process, is to sell it to a guy, not sell it to a guy, but to gift it to a guy, and you take it back from the guy. So, like, oh, you kind of reaccepted it. These laws are very complex. So,
I'm sorry, I don't understand the logic behind that.
Yeah,
The first one, I understood the logic.
Oh, the one with the
where you take it apart and put it together, so it's built
right,
juice, so it doesn't need to be toveled.
Right. So if it belongs to a goy, and you're just using it, then you're fine. Right. So these laws are like in the industrial world, halakhically, technically speaking. I mean, every Jew, if a catering company is owned by a Jewish person, they should be doing tefillah on everything that they buy, all their sheet pans, all their pots and pans, and everything like that. Now, there is a shita somewhere, and there is a commentary that says that if you're doing it in bulk, you don't have to for some reason. I don't understand that. Where I work in the university, all the kalim are not owned by me, not owned by the Star K. It's owned by the university. It's owned by non-Jewish people. I don't have to do a tefillah on any of the kalim. So if it belongs to me, then yes, I have to do tefillah. If it doesn't, then I don't have to do tefillah.
Can you give us the names of those products that aren't the highest of quality for the desserts? You were saying some.
I remember growing up with Oberlander. I don't know if Oberlander. You ever heard of it?
No.
They make a lot of non-Gebrocks cookies.
They do.
I can't say that they're necessarily the tastiest, but
no, I said that's like one of the things that I remember not being very tasty.
Okay.
But I don't know. Yeah. So someone asked about taping up the urn. Like if you have like an urn and you have like a place where you plug it in, if you could put a piece of tape right where the plugs go in, so no water goes in there, you can block that up and tovel it like that. If you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
If you're concerned about the water going in.
Oh, you can do that.
You can do that?
Just the place where the plug goes in. Yes.
Okay.
On the outside, not on the inside. But when you immerse a kli, you have to make sure people don't understand this. That you have to immerse a kli. It has to be 100% immersed. There can't be any air bubbles in there. So you have to, like when you do an urn, when you do something large, you have to put it on the side to put it in so the whole thing gets immersed 100% completely. If there's an air bubble in there, it's not considered a full tefillah. So just keep that in mind if you're doing that.
I'm sorry, are you finished with the urn? Because a question came up in the chat box. I have a standalone bubbler water fountain / water fountain that has hot and cold water. You know, like you've seen them in businesses when you go and you can pour the hot water or the cold water.
Right.
Can I
Right.
use it on Pesach?
I don't, as long as you're not putting comments in there during the year and you're talking about like a water dispenser, correct?
Yes, it's,
Yeah.
you can put it, you have a thing from Poland Spring or whatever company, I believe.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the person
Yeah.
who sent the question. And it takes that and makes it either cold or hot, depending upon, your desire.
Right. There shouldn't be a problem unless you're sticking your cup in the where the hot water comes out. If I say clean the whole area anyway before Pesach. You should
Right.
clean everything, and but there shouldn't be a problem using something like that. Just make sure everything's clean before you use it.
Yeah. So in our house, we use a hot water heater all year round. All we ever put in it is water.
So but it's around chametz all the time. You're using it for chametz, and if you have nothing else, I mean, maybe you can go, you can be lenient, but you're using it all year round in a chametz kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, chances are that there might have been some chametz that get on it. I mean, there is. I mean, you could do a hagala on it. You could kosher it if you really want. But that takes boiling water and it's got to boil over the top, and that's a little bit complicated. So, I mean, if you really needed it, and you had nothing else, that would be a way to do that.
So with that hot and water situation of the
Yeah,
bubbler,
the
um,
bubbles. Yeah, I'm
maybe
saying
that's on the chametz counter too.
right, but you're not. See, the thing, the elements are inside. They're not. You put the tank on top of the bubbler, right? It's not hot. It's cold water.
That's what we put in cold water.
Yeah, but it gets hot. The whole outside gets hot, right?
Yeah.
The bubbler is not on the counter.
Right. The bubbles.
Bubbler
Yeah.
is like, no, I mean, I know that when I use we call it a klumpun, but our Shabbos urn, it's right next to my crock pot, which is making my cholent, which might have barley in it. It's right next to this and that and the other. The bubbler is like separate away from the counter. Nothing else is near it that can,
Yeah.
comment on it.
Usually the bubbles away. Also the water. You put the water on top. It's cold water. It's not
Right.
hot. The water doesn't get hot. When you're dealing with hot things, it absorbs anything that splashes on it or anything like that. So when you're dealing with cold, it does not absorb. Just generally in halacha, it's cold does not absorb. Only hot absorbs. So if you have something hot, it'll absorb whatever you throw at it. If you have a pot on the stove, let's say you're cooking chicken soup and some milk splashes on the pot, you have a lot of halachic problems because it's hot. But if you have two pots that touch dry by accident, milchik and fleshik pot, and it's not wet on the outside, it's okay. There's a medium there. So you're talking about hot and liquid. So that's where you start getting problematic when it comes to kashrus issues like that. So the bubbler the internal thing is, it's on the bottom is where the heat source is. You can't see the heat source and it's not hot, maybe in the inside, but not on the outside. Everyone know what a bubble? I mean, I know what a bubbler is, but I don't know if you have that kind of bubbler or you have a different type that I don't know about.
No, that's the kind
That's
it
the
is.
hot one. Okay.
That's what the question is.
So that is that. I'll tell you a couple of things that do not need to be kosher Pesach, and I'll tell you a couple of things that you should purchase before Pesach just to be on the safe side, because generally speaking, you do not want to buy certain products that were produced on Yom Tov. So you want to buy it before Yom Tov for two reasons. One, if there's any chance of any kind of 1 in a million kidneys or anything like that, it's bottle in that sense, if you buy it before and not do it. And I'll explain to you a couple of things, like milk. Milk is one big thing. So milk has any milk that has a hechsher on it is produced before, that you buy before Yom Tov, that was produced before Yom Tov, has a lot of things that go into it. It has, usually they throw in what is it? A, D,
D.
D, right? And they throw in a couple other things that you don't know about that I'm not going to go through. But those things can be kidneous derivatives. But if you buy it before Pesach, it's kind of you're buying it and it's nullified. You don't want to buy that on Pesach. You don't want to have any problems on Pesach to have that. So you buy milk and even lactate. If you drink lactate like myself, you buy it before Pesach.
I'm sorry, just have another question. I don't know how you want, I don't want to make you go back and forth. But someone
Yeah,
just
let me finish the things and then I'll go
Fine.
back to that
Absolutely.
Amherst question that came up. Yeah. So that's one thing. Milk. Eggs is another thing. You should buy eggs that were not laid on Pesach. You don't want egg. That could also be a problem. So buy eggs before Pesach. Those things. Okay.
Yogurt.
What's that?
Yogurt.
Yogurt needs a kosher Pesach thing because it has a lot of enzymes and so on and so forth. There's lists and lists of yogurts that are kosher Pesach.
Yeah, I got some Mahadrin. I'm not sure where I got it from, but I just recently got 2 containers.
I think there's a lot of regular brands out there that are kosher Pesach. You know,
I think it was Zadie's. Yeah.
Cocoa powder, 100% cocoa powder, not from Europe. Not from Europe, and all of Hershey's you can buy without a kosher Pesach P on it. Same thing with coffee, not decaf, regular coffee, regular ground coffee. You should buy it before Pesach. Decaf needs a special kosher Pesach Hacksher, and I believe that in Sharon there's a place called JJ's Coffee, which they have a little cafe. Their decaf meets the criteria that you could buy it for Pesach because they do. There's different.
What is the name of that one again?
JJ's. You ever heard JJ's?
I think so.
Is that on South Main Street?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not there. They opened a cafe. They opened a cafe in Wellesley. They sell their. I don't know if they sell it still through their house or not, but their decaf coffee is made through it's called a Swiss water method, which does not use any kidneys or anything else. So that is that is good.
Yeah.
Is that one near the post office?
Yeah, the one down the block from Main Street. I don't know if they're still there. You can look it up online, see where they are.
Can you spell it?
Huh?
JJ's, can you spell that?
JEJS space JES. JJS, yeah.
Yeah.
For instant decaf, the only one you can get is Folgers.
Folgers, yes.
And Walmart has it. It's not easy to find. So Walmart, I found it at Walmart.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, that's one, and you can also buy the Folgers decaf ground coffee as well, without a P on it, and the Folgers without a P on it as well. You don't need a P on the Folgers.
But the other ones on the list aren't available around here, so I looked.
Right. I saw there's a couple of the brands, but you're right.
Can I just ask the question about the cocoa? You said that, you can buy 100% cocoa powder.
Yes, but not from Europe. Not.
Well, is that the whole Dutch process thing? Dutch process? I actually don't know that I need it, but I'm just curious if there's a Dutch process.
It could be Dutch process, is a certain process that's how they produce cocoa. But if it's made here in the United States, and maybe either other places, it might be acceptable depending on if it's 100% cocoa or
not. Okay, thank you.
Let's see. Okay, I don't know if anybody knows this, but you could buy cut fruit from the supermarket, just generally speaking. Watermelon, melon, all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Surprise, yeah, you can. But
issue about the knife, no?
What?
There's no issue about the knife if it's cut.
No issue. No. Now I'm not going to get into the whole kashrut issue with that, but no, they use particular knives, and even if they don't, I'm not going to get it. It's a lengthy segment. But if you do buy cut fruit, you should buy it before Pesach, and you should wash it off before you use it. Okay, just
Like the strawberries or things like that. You have to
strawberries. That's something you need to check. So I wouldn't buy
Right.
that. I'm talking about melons and pineapple, things like that. You should buy it before
Right.
Pesach. But you should wash it off.
Thank you.
No problem. Also, frozen fruit without additives. You can also buy without a P on it, but you need to wash it off before you use it.
But it has to have a hechsher.
It has to have some kind of hechsher, yeah.
So that's fruits, but
yeah.
not for vegetables. Would that be correct?
So vegetables also, but garlic is not part of that thing. So yes, you should, if you buy cut fruits or vegetables, you buy it before Pesach, you rinse it off, but not things that need to be checked for bugs, those things, and you should wash it off. But garlic, peeled garlic, if you see peeled garlic in the store, you could not, that needs a special kosher Pesach hechsher on it, garlic, peeled garlic.
Yeah, what did you say about the frozen fruit? It should be without added.
Frozen fruit without additives, meaning there's no additional things besides the fruit and sugar. Sugar by itself, pure sugar, is also, you do not need a P for it. You don't even need a P for it during the. You don't even need a kosher symbol during the year for it if it's pure sugar.
Really?
Yeah, really. But on Pesach, but somehow, if it has, you should buy sugar with a hechsher for kosher Pesach. You should. But when it comes back to the frozen fruit, additives would be sugar or any kind of vitamins or any kind of preservatives that they might put in there. So if it's just fresh fruit, it says fruit. That's it. Like pineapple, melon. That's it. Blueberries.
So no added sugar.
No added sugar. No. So sugar that does need a, believe it or not, does need a kosher Pesach symbol. Some people say he doesn't, but during the year it does not need a symbol. If you find something that doesn't have a symbol and it's 100% sugar, 100% sugar, does not need a kosher Pesach. It doesn't need a hechsher even. Raisins. Raisins, if it doesn't have any additives or oils, then it does not need a special P on it. It needs to be kosher. But if it has no additives or oils in it, then you can use it without a P on it. Also, I was going to get to that. Raw cut vegetables should be purchased before Pesach and rinsed with cold water, or you buy stuff like from the butchery or something that was, they made it special that it was kidneys and chametz free, and of course water with no additives. So that does not require a P.
That
bottled
doesn't
water
include
is-
seltzer.
What's that?
That doesn't include seltzer, right?
So seltzer is a whole nother thing. So let me go into a little bit of let's see. So there's a lot of brands out there that if you have the OU book, which I do right in front of me, they list a whole bunch of brands that do not need a special P for that. But I believe there are different ways. I don't think many people do it this way, but CO2 can be made from different sources, and one of them is a chametz source, believe it or not. So, but most it's made from a chametz source, like it's made from a fermentation from, let's say, beer. Beer is a natural fermentation, and you can gather up CO2 from that process. And then if you use that CO2 in your seltzer, that would be chametz seltzer. But not many people do that anymore. It's very, very far and few between that people do that anymore.
With a soda stream, would you have to have one set aside, particularly for Pesach? Or
What you would do is you would have new bottles, and you would have to clean out it. You're not supposed to. The soda stream says you're not supposed to make your seltzer with any syrup inside. So if you're using your soda stream and just making the seltzer,
right?
Yeah, you should definitely clean it out and use brand new bottles and clean the whole area, the whole outside of it.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Someone just asked me today, do
Yeah.
I know where they can get kosher for Passover seltzer? She was having a hard time finding it.
I go, you know where I go? I go to right, what's it called? Right? Price Rate. Price Rate.
Price Rite.
88 cents, yellow caps. They're actually secret, everybody. It's really Polar, but they bottle it under a different brand. So it's the same seltzer, but
Rabbi, so the vintage one with the triangle K on the Aqua list, they said is fine for Passover.
yes, correct.
And you can also find the Passover ones at Shaw's and Stop and Shop for 88 cents
Right,
with some
right.
flavors.
With
But
some
the vintage
flavors.
one, since it has a triangle KP, the rabbis had asked whether it was usable, and the answer was yes.
Yeah,
So
For
you're
seltzer, Arlene?
Costco, that's what you get at Costco with the big cases.
You're talking about seltzer.
The
seltzer.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll tell my friend. Okay.
Yeah, the rabbis say that is that also the flavors? Is that true for the flavors?
No,
as
it's
well?
only plain.
It's only plain, right? That's what I thought. The plain salsa, but the ones that you can get at Price Right, it's their stop. It's called Bowl and Basket. That has an OUP on it with the yellow cap because they like to do something different with that.
Is that flavored or also plain?
That's flavored. That has flavors actually. Those are the flavors that I said that they're secretly under Polar. I know.
Polar.
Yeah, I know the mashgiach who goes to Polar, and he told he told me that secret. That they bottle it under different brands. But because Polar itself does not have kosher Pesach seltzer, but they brand it out under different names. Like you could say, go to Polar and say, can you make my brand of seltzer? That kind of thing. So that's what they do. Someone asked about Amaranth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Amaranth and teff.
Right. Arlene, this is your area of expertise. I heard it's some kind of thing but I'm not sure what I heard. You know anything about that?
Some of the agencies say Amaranth is 5 and needs to be kosher certified for Passover, and I don't think there are any.
That's what we were wondering. My Sheena has a lot of food issues, and so she was hoping to find some amaranth or teff, and she said the CRC says that it's okay without a hechsher for Pesach, but we can't find any. So I didn't know if that.
Wait, you mean that it needs a Pesach hechsher? It just needs
No,
a
it
hechsher?
doesn't need it.
So she has to go back and ask the CRC about whether she can check it. If they would not allow that the Amaranth, they're saying they're allowing if you find a Pesach hechsher, but nobody's making it.
Exactly.
As far as I know. So if she has a family, if she has food issues, then it becomes a shaila, and you go back and ask them, okay, I can't find it. Do you know if it's not being made, can I check it 3 times like rice, like the Sfardim do with rice?
Okay, that's a good idea.
That's there are some new things that I saw at Stop and Shop in Norwood. They had coconut sugar with a Pesach hechsher. They had cassava flour with a Pesach hechsher.
Yeah, she uses
these are new this year.
Oh no, it's almond flour that she's used. That's right. But I know
right, but cassava flour is newly certified for Passover and available this year. And I saw it at Stop and Shop in Norwood.
Oh, that'll make her happy. Thank you.
They also had coconut aminos with a Pesach hechsher, and that's made from coconut. They ferment coconut sugar.
Okay. The funny thing is, I'm looking at the CRC thing right now. As I said last year, if anybody wants to buy, what's it called? Chia seeds. Pure chia seeds, not processed whatsoever, is acceptable. It needs a hechsher, but it doesn't need to have a special kosher Pesach thing. But ironically, I was looking at the cocoa. It says the special dark cocoa from Hershey's is not acceptable for Pesach.
Rabbi, I tried asking the OU about that because their list says any Hershey's cocoa.
Right.
And so I tried asking about it, didn't get an answer.
Yeah.
So, but I did ask about if you're a BJ's member, they have a wonderful cocoa which is under the BJ's brand
Right,
with the Denver hexer.
right.
Looks like the
The Torah Scroll K.
Torah scroll.
Oh, that's
It
what I know that
happens to
one.
be a really tasty cocoa.
Yeah. Is it okay?
And I asked I asked Denver if that was usable for Passover, and they said yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's a much tastier cocoa than the
Yeah.
Kirsch's.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Hershey's is not the best cocoa, but it's widely available.
But so all that information is I have on my website. It's calling the miscellaneous product page. You have a better name for me. I need a better name.
Okay.
And at the top, I have a link to the OU list, the searchable database from the OU, and the CRC's Ask CRC, and the OK list.
Right.
And what's usable is you could put in, let's say, Kirkland in the OU list as a thing. It'll tell you everything that's Kirkland that it's usable for Passover kind of thing. And then after that, I have basically answers from many questions about many products that I've gotten over the years, and I keep asking every year or checking the list as to which things are usable, because I've combined all the lists together.
Right. Everybody know that Arlene has an extensive database on her website, kashrut.com, that you have all the main agencies that put out the things for Pesach. You can click on there and you can find out your information. So it's a very valuable resource. I actually have all the books in front of me, but that's because I do that. But Arlene has a great website. So if you have any question about a particular product, you can search through her website and through those links to find it. I was just going to go a little bit on koshering if anybody doesn't have another question.
We have another one.
Okay, so the info for diabetes. So there is very good, Alicia, thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so
Yeah.
diabetic.
I have the links. I have 2 links on my website on what to do with diabetes.
Oh,
Diabetes,
good.
right.
This is
Yes,
a new.
there is diabetics have to be very careful on Pesach, and as Arlene said, she has some links. There is a diabetic. I think there's a diabetic center that put it out. I'm not sure exactly who.
Jewish Diabetic Association.
Right.
And particularly for the Seder, where the question is you're supposed to eat a kazayas of matzah. Well, how big is a kazayas?
Right.
And so they're going by the minimum shear rather than the maximum.
Right. I felt that the Rabbi Kaufman from the KVH put out a primer this year. You have a link over there for the KVH as well this year?
Yeah.
He actually goes into detail exactly how much you need minimally, and you can actually buy scales, and depending on the thickness of the matzah, it gets really technical. But if you're diabetic and you're not supposed to eat more than a certain amount, you should check that out because it'll be very helpful. You don't need to drink an 8-ounce cup of wine. The maximum is like 5.1 ounces that you really need to have to drink for 4 cups of whatever you're drinking, and it should be low alcohol. So on.
Total for the 4?
What's that?
Total for the 4 cups?
No. Each one.
Each one. Okay.
That's the highest. That's the highest one.
Oh, that's the highest.
Rabbis, other rabbis say 4 point. Some. Like you don't. Like you have to find what's comfortable for you and what you can handle. But there are different shiurim.
They also the list, the Jewish Diabetic Association talks about being able to dilute your wine beforehand.
Yes.
Oh, you have to do it ahead of time?
You have to do it ahead of time, but you can dilute it beforehand, and then you're not drinking as much sugar.
Right. So there's a lot of wines out there.
Uses tea because they can't use grape juice or wine. But the real issue for them is the matzah. They're brand new to this diabetic stuff. So they're still getting lots of answers, to things. And they were like, what am I going to do? I haven't got everything else memorized yet. I said, there's got to be a source.
Yeah.
That's why it's on my website. Easy to find.
Thank you.
On Kashrut.com Passover. That's why I started this now 1996, where I used to get all the books. And then as the web came out, we saw, oh, we could put it all together on the web. So, because most people didn't have all the books,
Right.
And so that's how the website started, was pretty much on Pesach, is how to just collecting information. And now I have the rabbi sending me the information. Hi, here's my lists.
That's right. It's very and I think Arlene's website is the only one that has like all the different ones. Everyone has their own, but she has them all. So that's a really good source to go to.
Really,
I'm not a rabbi. I don't poskin.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're able to share what everyone else poskins. So that's great.
Because you get different. If you're going by the CRC or going by the OU,
right,
or things like kidneyot, they have different things they say
that's
are kidneyot.
That's
so
true.
On my miscellaneous product list, I list that which agencies say which things are kidneyot.
Right, correct.
There's not an agreement on what's kidneyot?
No,
for the most part.
No,
for the
come
most
on.
Part. I mean,
agreement.
yeah, maybe some people say that you can eat peanuts on Pesach, and some people say you can eat green beans on Pesach, but for the most part, everyone agrees that rice and soya is kidneyot.
Yeah.
It's the things like flax and amaranth and quinoa.
Right, those kinds of things, yeah.
But in Israel, cottonseed oil is kidneyot.
No, it's not. It's no.
It's kidneyot in Israel.
Well, I'll tell you why they don't have a good hechsher on the cottonseed oil over there. Because back in Europe, the wheat fields used to grow next to the cotton fields, and that's why they didn't want to use cottonseed oil. But now it doesn't grow like that. Rabbi Landau gives a hechsher on the cottonseed oil over there. They don't consider it kidney.
Oh, okay. But the rapeseed canola oil, rapeseed is rotating with wheat.
Yes. So there's different things. I mean, everyone knows oils on Pesach are very thing. You can there's olive oils that you can use that are kosher Pesach, and extra virgin olive oils that you don't need a P on it. You can look at Arlene's BOU. There's also there's
avocado oil.
Olive oil.
No, avocado oil.
Avocado. There's some avocado oil. I think
The
chosen one that they sell at Costco is also good, and there's also safflower oil you can use on Pesach. You can find it. It's called Hollywood brand.
Yeah, haven't seen it around here.
I got it Hannaford sells it. If you know where Hannaford. Roche Brothers also has it. You got to look around. If you're looking.
But avocado oil, and there's also at BJ's you have Pompeian grapeseed oil.
That's right, grapeseed oil. Right.
It also does not need a P.
That's okay. There you go.
Can I ask, if you get quinoa, there was a thing a few years back where like somebody decided, no, we can't have it on Pesach. I don't know. It was very confusing to me. But quinoa needs a kosher Pesach hechsher?
Yes, it does. It does, and I'll tell you why. At one point in time, Star K was the first people. I don't know if anybody can see my Star K over here. The Star K was the first agency that like big agency that said that quinoa was not chametz and it was not kidneyous, and you were able to use for Pesach. Now at that time there wasn't a lot of we'll call it scrutiny on exactly where it grows, how it grows, and so on and so forth. And they discovered that they do grow grains in the same area in Peru, in the mountains where they grow it. So it became a problem with it being processed in the same storehouses as the wheat. So that's why, as long as it has a kosher Pesach thing. Now, over the last couple of years, because they're producing so much quinoa, you need to, believe it or not, check your quinoa, but it's very, very easy to check. All you got to do is take a handful and throw it on a white piece of paper. And if you see things running around, you have a problem. If you don't, then you're good.
So even with kosher Pesach, you still have to check it.
Yeah. Check all your quinoa. Because I couldn't believe it. Someone showed me the thing of quinoa, and it's like, wow.
But do you
Because
do that on a light box, Rabbi?
you
Or
could do it. You could do it on a light bulb. You could do it on a white piece of paper. You really don't have. I mean, you'll see it if it's infested. You'll see it right away. It's these.
Okay.
It's called book bugs. Really, really, really small black bugs, but it's very easy to see with the naked eye running around on your
Okay.
paper. And yeah, and I could not believe it the first time I saw it. It was like, wow. So yeah, buy it from a. If you buy in kosher Pesach quinoa in the store, it should be fresh from this year, and you should really not have a problem with it because it's not been stored for a very long time. They do special runs for quinoa, and it's pretty fresh, so you shouldn't have a big problem with that.
thank you.
No problem. I was going to get in a little bit into koshering. If anybody wants to hear the koshering primer, what I'm getting at is everyone sure has a way how to kosher their stuff, but everyone should know that when you clean your whatever you're cleaning, you're talking about your countertops, your sinks, and all that. It's got to be 100% clean and left alone for 24 hours. No hot items can be put down on it, and you cannot use any hot water in your sink. Cold water you can use, but you shouldn't rinse anything off. Really in the sink because you want to use it to kosher. So when it comes down to because what you usually kosher your countertops with and your sinks is boiling hot water, whereas your ovens you're heating up, and it does not need to sit around for 24 hours because you're heating it up to a point where it's practically not glowing, but it's so hot that it nullifies the what if there's anything in there. So that's why.
And so forth, right? That you still have to line with foil.
What's that?
Not around the door and the opening to the oven. That area.
So do you have a self-cleaning oven?
Yes, I do.
So I mean, as long as you clean it well and get up all the stuff that's around the door and on the door, you should not have a problem. I mean, you're koshering the whole thing. It gets up to 500, 600 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that the area around it did not burn out sufficiently, but that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, people get all excited about yes, you should clean it. You can take even like a razor blade if there's any carbon on the door and scrape that off. Use Easy Off. It nullifies anything that's there, so you don't have to worry about the any residue or anything like that. Yeah, so you're doing, it's called a Lieben Kal, which is a burning of light. And it gets up to 550 degrees minimum, or you turn it, if you don't have a self-clean oven, then you turn up your oven to the max for at least 2 hours to kosher your oven. And it has to be 100% clean, of course. The racks and everything. You shouldn't take upon because it's a self-clean oven that it's gonna clean everything out. You want to make sure that there's nothing there. Yeah, if you have a speck there, don't worry. Your self-cleaning will take care of that. But you should make sure that it's pretty clean in your oven, especially the bottom and the top of the oven, which is very important.
Our oven has we have a range with a double oven in there, and each oven you can has a quick clean where you can pour however much water it is and put it on this cycle, and then you can wipe stuff down. Would that be sufficient for cleaning before the self-clean?
Yeah, it should
You
take
wipe it down after it steams everywhere, then you wipe it down.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great pre-cleaner. Yeah, pre-cleanser. I mean, I work with industrial ovens that they're $50,000, and I throw in some tablets over there, walk away a couple of hours, it's a brand new oven. You're not going to have that. Still, even those ovens, you got to take apart and make sure there's nothing in there. But yeah, but that's a great pre-cleanser. Also, you want to use a caustic cleaner like Easy Off for the inside of the ovens. They have ones that are fume free. There's ones that are caustic. Got to be very careful when you're using those kinds of stuff. So,
Rabbi, I had a question that I meant to ask since last year, and it's a good thing that I'm listening to you because it made me remember it. There's underneath my oven is a drawer where we can keep pots and pans.
yes.
So last year, I didn't remember until midway through Pesach that I hadn't taken I had cleaned in the drawer and so forth, meaning to take the pans out, but I didn't take the pans out. So they were still in there, and I was cooking my Pesach food in my oven. Was that any kind of an issue that the pots were down there?
Generally speaking, that part down there does not get hot. It's made for a storage area. If it does, even if it does get a little bit hot, and it's definitely not going to get hot enough that you can't take out your pans even when you're cooking. So it's not going to get.
They're hummus stick pans.
I understand, but
okay.
Your pans, you didn't leave your pancake in your pan, right? It's just you can't use the pan because they're chametz, but there's no visible chametz there. There's no,
right.
It's inside the pan. You can't see it's molecular chametz, which you don't have to sell your pans and stuff like that. People tape up their cabinets, but you don't really have to sell your pans necessarily.
I just wasn't sure if that was enough to compromise the inside of my oven. The fact
no, it's not gonna compromise. But I would definitely take it out and remember and just tape it off that you don't use it for Pesach unless you want to use it for Pesach. Then you can clean it and line it with aluminum foil and then.
No, I did all that cleaning, but I meant to move it out into a separate cabinet like I do everything else, and I just realized suddenly that I hadn't gotten that done.
Yeah,
so
that's not a biggie, not a biggie.
I have to leave now.
Go ahead, Janice. Have a good night. Be well.
Okay, good night. Learned a lot. Yeah.
Any other questions with products or anything else?
You've been very thorough.
Yeah.
What's that?
I have one more thing to double check if I could. Okay. I finally learned, I even forget which website it was, but to kosher my sink, I use one of those electric hot pots, like from Proctor Sight.
Yes.
So I fill it up, and once it's boiling, there it goes. But it takes like 5 of those to do my whole sink.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I don't run cold water, right?
Okay, so let me just go back into that. I just want to go back one little bit. If you have a self-cleaning oven, you're koshering your self-cleaning oven, you should not use the most caustic easy off stuff on the thing. They say you should not do that. It will create something. It will create fumes. Yeah, I think it'll create because it gets so hot on the. Yeah, you can use stuff on the door. Going back to your kettle, your thing. So, just when you're doing your sink, remember how to do your sink. When you're pouring the water into your sink to kosher it with the boiling with the kettle, you want to start from the bottom and work your way up.
Oh, well, that's
reason being is because
up.
Yeah, no. What? Well, because you're koshering, you got to work from the bottom up. That's what you got to do. Because if you work from the top up, all the stuff that you had on the top will go down to the bottom, and if it's not kosher 100%, then it's going to cause problems. So keep that in mind.
So simple, and why I didn't think of it, I don't know, but that makes a lot of sense. I kept wondering, do I have to run cold water in between each of these rings of the boiling hot water I'm doing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. If anybody has an electric stovetop, there is a way to kosher it, but it's very, very tedious. I don't know if everyone's using electric these days, so you got to be very careful, but it can be done. I can explain the glass electric tops. That's what I mean. Not the coil, not the coils.
Oh, the continuous thing, right?
The continuous thing, yeah. I just did it recently at someone's house, and it could be done. It's just not the most practical thing because every area in between the glass cannot be kosher. The burners, because the burners get hot, they go red hot, but in between it doesn't get red hot. So I
cover mine with foil and a big wood block, and then I put a hot plate on top of it that I use for my cooking.
That's okay for Pesach. Yeah, okay. That's good. So yeah, you could do that, or gas is pretty easy. How it kind of koshers itself, but you gotta make sure that everything's clean first. Anybody have any questions on any products that they're?
Okay, the on the ACO list, they mentioned diffusers for the electric stoves. And they
Yeah.
also mentioned these mats, silicone mats that people put on top of them. That they
Yeah,
could
you
use
mean
on Pesach.
those people who hold that you cannot kosher the electric stovetop?
Yeah,
Yeah. Or induction cookers.
yeah. So they have diffusers, and they also some of the rabbis talk about those, and some of them talk about these silicone mats that people can put on top. I've never used either of those, so I don't know. I don't know if you anything
I've
about
used diffusers on induction cookers, but if you're gonna use these silicone, I mean, you could kosher the stovetop. There's nothing
even if
wrong.
it's the glass ones.
Even the
Just
glass
the
ones,
burners.
just the
Okay.
burners, where it gets
Okay,
red
but
hot.
then you could put the mat on the rest of it so that you would be
Yeah,
able
I guess you can put a mat around the areas that don't. Yeah, so you don't mess up. You don't move your pans around and stuff like that. Yeah, that's why everything's going to electric.
foil.
What's that?
That would be as opposed to using foil, which could cause
right.
that.
Yeah, I think it's called hot mat. I could probably try to find what the ones are
Yeah.
that the rabbis had mentioned.
Yeah, the silicone
Um,
mats. I heard
My
about
wood
this.
block. But
What?
thank you. I'm going to stick with my wood block. I've done it so many years now, but thank you.
Right. Let's see. Anybody have a question about what they can kosher, what they cannot kosher?
Oh, actually, just as a matter of curiosity, glass.
Yeah.
Usually posture it by doing the 3 days of changing the
So
water.
no, I think that's a myth. That's a myth.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you the real thing. I mean, if you come down to it, and you wake up 3 days before Pesach and you realize you have 50 guests and that's all you have, then you could do that three-day thing. But Ashkenazim should not be doing koshering glass. The Ashkenazim, only Sfardim will use that methodology only and people use it only in a pinch. If you can't afford glassware, then it's a little bit of a problem. But glass for Ashkenazim cannot be kosher. That's just
I did not know.
You mean
it's a
kosher for
hard
Pesach or in general kosher?
in
Like
general, where
I don't know how you would trafe glass, but if I trafed glass or if I wanted antique glass or something.
right. So
Exactly.
if you're in a pinch and you need a kosher glass, that would be maybe one way of going about doing it. But otherwise, you cannot switch over from koshering it from one thing. Where Sfardim, they can go from meat to dairy to the Pesach. They glass does not absorb for Sfardim, only for Ashkenazim for some reason. So if you want to switch over to the Sephardic faith, then we can talk. But yeah,
Rice, forget the glass. I would have the rice.
That's right. But glass is, according to all the Ashkenazic literature, glass cannot be koshered, and it can only be koshered if you're in a pinch and you have nothing else to use. And absolutely.
Oh,
And
I have a big highlight then because I thought I was told at a time, a very dear friend, an older woman whose kostress, I probably wouldn't have gone by, but wanted me to have these very nice glass plates that she had for all those years. And I asked at that time, and that's when I found out about doing the 3 days thing. So,
right, if you have no other choice, then okay.
No, this so I could honor her that I did it. So I had said I'll use them for milk cooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did not realize that could have been a problematic answer. I'll go back to who I went to and say, "Are you sure about that? Because now what do I do with all my dishwasher?"
Yeah, it's an issue. I learned it in black and white, and I could not believe it myself. And I think people just don't know the proper halacha when it comes to glass for Ashkenazim.
Well, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I have a Sephardi
What's interesting, German Jews did consider glass to be par.
Okay.
A number of Minhagim that are midway between Ashkenaz and Sephardi. And my grandmother, who was strictly from, would do that. People didn't have any money.
Right. Yeah, no. So back in the day, when you were in a pinch and you didn't have the meat, there were some loopholes that were allowed. But if you can, I mean, glassware is glassware, unless you're getting like, you know, the real, you know, fancy schmancy crystal glassware that, you know, then you would need to need to figure that out. But it's today's age. We don't. Yeah. Glassware is par. No, glassware is really glassware is sort of par. It doesn't absorb, but what? Yeah. Glassware doesn't absorb, but Ashkenazim generally we do not use the same glassware we wouldn't use. Cups is one thing. Cups you can use, you know, if it's a clean cup, you can use it for meat. If you're having a meat meal, if it's a clean cup, you can use it for a dairy meal. But when it comes to like pots and pans, glassware like that,
Like Pyrex, are you talking about when
yeah,
you say?
no, I mean, yeah, Pyrex, yeah.
Because I mean, you can't like, I can't just get anything glass. It has to be designed to handle heat for cooking.
Yeah, drinking cup, not only mugs. Yeah, I mean, the what I've understood about mugs also, you're not you're using it for different meals. You're not like you're washing it out. Generally speaking, it's usually cups are not a problem going back and forth between milchik and fleisch, but when it comes to glassware like plates
Yes.
and cookware, that seems to be an Ashkenazic thing that we should keep things separately. For some reason, they took upon themselves, even though today's age is different, that glassware was like ceramic, which it's really not, and it's absorbable, which it's really probably not absorbable. But that's what the Ashkenazim took upon themselves the custom, like a lot of other things like kidneys and stuff like that.
If I can't, the rabbi who at the time told me that I could kosher those glass plates and so forth that way, can I call you? For some reason I can't reach him. Would that be okay to call you to find out what I should do with my dishes?
Yeah, I mean, I can look into it for you. I mean, it's not, it's a little bit of complex, you know, you gotta, there's probably going to be a couple of questions that need to be asked and see if this, you know, it's okay or not, you know.
Okay.
Generally speaking, that's the Ashkenazic rule. I can't go against the bigwigs who that made those rules up, you know. Fancy enough that people say that stainless steel doesn't absorb anything into it. Now, stainless steel is a new material, and someone at the FDA did a extensive research. Yes, it might not absorb a lot of stuff. Let's say you're cooking milchik and then fleischik. It might not absorb a lot of stuff, but it does absorb something. So if it absorbs anything whatsoever, then it'd be considered like you can't use it for the other meat. Like you can't use it if you're using it for milk, you can't use it for fleischik. Where there are some rabbis who say, of course you can use it for both. So I'm just letting you know that it gets complicated with the molecular structure of our glassware and our metals these days.
Thank you. That was very informative.
Yeah, no problem. I'm full of knowledge, but I'm just it's all stuff I learned. So I'm just passing along to you. I mean, it's fresh in my mind. You know, some of the stuff is like surprising to me as well when I first heard it. So, but if anybody has any questions about any products or whatever it is, I mean, Arlene's she has access to all that. I have specific things maybe that I don't know if Arlene has. Rabbi Blumenkranz's book, which has 1,000,001 products in there that they do research with. I'm sure Rabbi Blumenkranz does not have a database for you, but I do have the database right in front of me. I bought the book. I buy the book every year, and it has a lot. Like when it comes to cosmetics and other stuff like that, they're very extensive with their lists of what's chametz and what's not. So feel free to reach out. I guess Marilee, you can give my email address out if anybody wants to reach out and ask a question after this. But yeah, I
Thank you.
mean, there's so much resources these days compared to in the past. I mean, you can be a testament to that. Every year, I think we get more and more knowledge of the databases out there of what's what, and all the Hechsherim are giving you their information in order to publish them. It's amazing how the book that I used to buy for whatever it was really thin, and then it gets thicker and thicker every year with more and more information. Some of these books I buy are like, like you got to be a rabbi in order to do Pesach, but it has a lot of knowledge in it. It has a lot of good knowledge in it.
Technical knowledge. I love Rabbi.
Technical, yeah.
It's through the year I look at things in there, about shatness and about travel.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
They
Yeah.
do. I know.
Rabbi, regarding all the medications,
Yeah.
the fact that the CRC and the major agencies say that if you have a medication that you're required to take, from particularly a swallowable pill that your doctor has told you to take, you take it. That sock I have, it's from the CRC, is on my website.
That's right.
And it's very important, because before they did that, I used to get questions from people about whether they could take their heart medication or so now it's just, if you need this medication, don't even look at the book. Just take the CRC and the major agencies.
The CRC, yeah, the CRC was very nice to put that knowledge out to everybody. I can tell you that there are some people that they'll tell you to look for another alternative if you can't find it. But if it's something that you swallow and it's something that that's kidney oat, you should keep it separate from everything else, and you should have a special place to put it, and only swallow it with on the side with water or whatnot to take your medication. You shouldn't put it next to your food stuff. In any case.
What if you have to take it with food?
Well,
then you just like step aside, use a plastic cup with water, and go back.
something like that. Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, I mean, if it's
You don't want it at the table with the food.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's
Like
so many
formula. Go make it in the back, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who say that like the end of the when you come to the end of the roll of paper towels, there's this sticky stuff, for the last one.
Yeah. Oh, I always throw it out before the end of the roll. Do I have to? I don't have to.
They say that's kidney us. You shouldn't get to the end where you put it on your table. Like, okay, yeah. I don't think anybody's eating that. I don't think anybody's putting that in their food. But yeah, you should keep that away from things. Like that kind of. Yeah, you can go down the rabbit hole really, really deep. But the point about doing all the stuff for Pesach, it should be an enjoyable Pesach, and it should be a chag, and you should be happy during every chag. And especially when it comes to getting ready for the chag, it doesn't mean that you have to go pick up your oven and get every crumb out from underneath your oven. It's considered, when you make your bracha for that, it's considered like the dust of the earth. It means nothing. It's not, you're not eating anything underneath your oven or somewhere where you cannot get to, that is hard to get to. That's not what the intention was when Hashem said to clean your house for Pesach many chametz. Also,
Rabbi Lipson one year gave a shir that really stuck in my mind. He said, there's actually a very short list of what you have to do to clean for Pesach.
That is true.
Like sweeping the floor over. He says, on the other hand, you're not allowed to make fun of anybody's chumras, because it's also said that it's meritorious to scrape the walls in your house.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Italians of yesterday, they had a minhag. They used to take everything out of their house, every single thing that was not attached to the floor.
Wow.
They took it out of the house and they painted their house every year. This was like what? But I guess there's some people who are very, very particular, and that's great. But if you don't have the time, or you don't have the energy, you don't have to go that crazy. And I'm saying there's certain things that you're doing a spring cleaning or you're doing a Pesach cleaning. You got to keep what's what in your head.
One year when we were first married in Chicago, in the mail and with the paper, on like the first or second day of Pesach, was a little thing of like frosted flakes.
Uh,
And so you pick it up, you bring it into your house, you're like, what? Oh my God,
yeah,
what am I going to do with this? And the rabbi just said, it's not yours. You don't want it. You
that's
didn't
right.
ask for it.
Right.
It's not,
Right. I mean,
it was like, really, Kellogg's had to do this. That's when they decided to do it,
right. If you go to the supermarket during Pesach, it doesn't mean you should wear dark sunglasses or you shouldn't look at the chametz. I mean, it's there, it doesn't belong to you. And same thing if you find something in your house during Pesach, you find it, you throw it out, and it's not yours. It's just garbage. It's considered like the dust of the earth. So people get
about the Cheerios in the air conditioner, right?
Oh yes.
I love that story.
Cheerios in the air conditioner?
That's it. All your air is now chametz. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The CR Detroit did say like arrangements with like Amazon that they send them things once a month.
Oh yeah.
And so if you have something that's chametz that you're sent at once, on a regular basis, make sure that you postpone it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I have to do that. I get energy bars every month, and
so sell that when you sell your chametz, make sure you mention that there's going to be a box.
No. What they
no, but what you can do is ahead of time, like up until whatever date, Amazon, at least Amazon sends you a reminder and says this is what you're getting, and I usually go, oh my gosh, log on and don't get that.
Or you can delay it. You can delay your
right. You delay it a month. That's fine.
Yeah. Yes, I don't think they charge you until they ship it.
Exactly.
As I know, yeah. Yeah, and Rabbi, I mean, I know Rabbi Hartman's selling chametz this year, but if anybody wants to sell their chametz through the KVH, you can do that too. I can send you a form. Rabbi Volosov selling chametz. So make sure you list all the areas in your house of where you're keeping your chametz, and what the total value is. It's also a good idea. Approximate value, don't have to be exact. But remember, kidneys is not chametz, so don't sell your kidneys. I mean, you can put it away, but you don't have to sell it. So just keep that in mind. All right, I guess this wraps it up. Wow, we've been on here for a while, but anybody's welcome to send me questions after the fact to my email. Marilee, if you don't mind sending out my email address, appreciate it.
Do you mind? Can I put it in the chat box? Is that okay?
Go ahead. And I cheat from I always use Arlene's website. I don't know if she can see if I'm logging in all the time, but I always use her databases for my knowledge as well. It's very good and very up to date. I appreciate that, Arlene.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. This was really helpful.
Very much.
And there was no monetary value involved with that statement. I'm just telling you as a pure fact that it's a very valuable website.
Right, everyone have a good evening.
Kosher v'sameach.
Kosher v'sameach, and we say kosher v'sameach. Make sure you don't forget about the sameach part, okay?
Yes,
right.
For the sameach part, very important.
It is a yontif.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Be well. Have a great Pesach. Be well.
You too.